thinking about rational numbers. Okay, you're not allowed to have irrational numbers, which would mean square roots that don't work out, and pi. You're not allowed to have irrational numbers. No irrational numbers in the denominator. Okay, which means basically this. This is not an acceptable thing. 1 over the square root of 2 is bad.
Oh, no more 1 over 5.
You don't have it. Yeah, well, you could fix it. The fix of it's pretty easy, though. We talked about this before. If you have 1 over the square root of 2, what is the fix for that, Wyrick?
Multiply it by square root of 2 over 2.
Right. You pick a fraction that's equal to 1. And the fraction that's equal to 1 just happens to be the square root of 2 over the square root of 2. And you multiply that, because you don't change the fraction when you do that, because it still is the same fraction. What is the square root of 2 times the square root of 2? It's just the normal 2, and then 1 times the square root of 2 is the square root of 2. This is acceptable. Means the same thing as that, but that's the way in math you have to write it. So you're saying, what about some more?
What about some more?
2 over the square root of 3, what would I do to get rid of the irrational number in the denominator there? What am I going to multiply both top and bottom by?
Square root of 3.
Square root of 3, square root of 3. So on the bottom we'll end up with a 3. And on top, what happens when you multiply 2 times the square root of 3, Sam? You get 2 square roots of 3. Thank you very much. 2 square roots of 3. You can't combine them or put them together. It's
Yes.
just the way it ends up. By the way, this, children, is the same thing as saying 2/3 times the square root of 3. It means the same exact thing. If you ever see it that way. Is that all there is? There's got to be more. Here's one. You do this one for me. 8 over the square root of 8. Simplify that. 8 over the square root of 8. 8 over the square root of 8. Eight over the square root of 8. You have an answer? Alex Vollmer?
Square root of 8.
Square root of 8 is not simplified, by the way.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, you can multiply by the square root of 8 and the square root of 8.
You're being a bad alpha.
You get an 8 there. The 8's do cross off, but the square root of 8 is not in itself simplified. Square root of 8 is 2 times the square root of 2. Kendall, why is the square root of 8 2 times the square root of 2? I'm not asking how you did it. I'm asking why the square root of 8 is 2 times the square root of 2. How do I do that?
You do the little carrot thing, and you get 2 and 4, and then 2 out of that 4. And then you cross out the 2.
What 2's?
The under the 4.
And you get?
2.
What happens to this?
It just stays the same.
2 times the square root of 2. Perfect. Well, you know, there's not a whole lot more than that. This is the last, by the way, lesson of the book here.
We should have a party.